Always left my stripper holding. You can call me a filthy holding.
Call me what you call me. I bet your bitch gon' call me. Whether it's money or your girl, I'ma get up on it. And when fifth up on it, it's like a gift up on it. Niggas rap and give you knowledge, gotta listen to it. Call me Mizzle West, I bring that good music. One and only mixtape is how you should do it. Wish you could do it, can't copy me. In the yo, with your hoe is where I'ma be. And niggas follow me, ain't got no Twitter though, but I'ma follow.
All right. Welcome back, y'all. This is Vulture Delivery Podcast episode 6. Got 6 of them things in the chamber, man.
6
You
rings.
know, we got Malcolm Red. He on the road right now, trying to get back to the city.
That's right.
Yes, sir. And we got Slim Thugger, Brother Maul down there. What's going on, brother?
It's good, brother.
Man, it's been a crazy couple weeks, man. We've been supposed to get this episode out there, but scheduling conflicts, guests flaking, this and that. But
They say good things come to those who wait.
That is true. That is true. And we got a guest. We got special guests in the building. We're gonna do a little something different this episode, man. We got some dirt, got some tea, for all y'all loyal subscribers out there, all 28 of y'all. Hey Red, man, what's going on with you, bro?
Vibing, chilling. I can't really tell y'all what Malcolm Red can't tell y'all what really going on. You know what I'm saying?
It's rated PG, guys. So
just keep it in the road. Y'all stay focused, man. Like, comment, subscribe. That's what y'all do. Like, comment, subscribe.
Look, we're gonna have a members only section, man. We're gonna have some exclusive stuff behind there. If y'all want the real dirt, man, the real tea, man, you have to lock into that, man. We're gonna have that up there soon.
Yeah. Hit up www. You almost had you. I almost had you right now.
Man.
I almost gave it away, but I ain't gonna do it just yet. I'm gonna wait. Y'all will see it. Just lock in, stay tuned.
Yeah,
man. So, it's a lot of crazy stuff been going on, man. Y'all heard about that mailman that got 2.5 years in prison, stealing all them checks?
it's crazy, man.
Yeah, but the question is, are you willing to take 2.5 in jail for $1 million? That's a great question. Would you do 2.5 years in jail if you were guaranteed $1 million tax free?
Who's my bunkie? That's the question.
Not who the bunkie. That's the only question you got. Who the bunkie?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
That 2.5 gonna feel like it's gonna drag though, man.
I'm like, I don't know how bro pulled it off, man. Bro, he scammed like over $1 million in checks, man.
Damn, son.
You had a good system going.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, he got too greedy. It might work 1, 2, 3 times, but you get too greedy.
Yeah, man. Look, you do it a couple times, you got 50 grand, and you get away with it. Just leave well enough alone, man.
But the catch to that is, with all the information they gave, they never said he gave the money back, or they never said they recovered the money.
Right.
Think about that. So they never said they got their money back.
Nah, that's true.
They said they got him for that amount, but I'm pretty sure that amount is alleged. They really don't know how long he was busting down the checks before they even caught up with him.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time. You know what? Let's bring our special guests up. We got a transportation routing specialist. You know, we got somebody different, man. We got you know, we're gonna take this episode in a different direction. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's bring her up. Hey,
Hello,
welcome to the
everyone.
podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Welcome.
Um, transportation routing specialist. Can you give us an idea what kind of job that is?
So basically, a routing specialist or a router for short. I'm the person that creates the school bus routes.
Mm, okay.
For
School bus
like
routes. Well, I
all
never thought
for
about
all
that.
the for all the schools, or you do like a certain district?
For the district that I'm in.
Okay, that's what's up.
All right, all right.
So all the people out there, think about it like, all right, your kids got to get picked up on this block, that block, that block, that block. Who you think do all that? The router
Mm.
does
Mm,
it. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I've never thought about that.
Each
Yeah, think
district
about that.
has, each school district has their own routing teams.
Okay. How long you been doing that?
Um, well, I've been with the district for 15 years.
Mm,
So I've been a router for about 12 of those years. I
okay,
started
12.
off as a bus driver at first.
Ah, okay. Worked your way up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. Um, dang, that's I've never really thought about who actually plan these routes out. I've never thought about that. So, is it a challenging job?
That's something to think about. Because,
Hmm.
I mean, think about your bus driver got all these stops. How they know where to stop at? You know what I mean? Somebody got to
Exactly.
be behind the scenes doing all that.
Yep.
Exactly. So is that a challenging job trying to trying to manage all these routes?
It is because it's way more that goes into it other than just creating a route and making bus stops. Um, it's a lot of structuring as far as the different bell times for each grade level.
Mm,
And then during the summertime, everything changes. The bell time changes, schools change. So you're changing your routes, you're restructuring routes. And it's not just routing for students within the city. We route for our homeless population, which
mm.
that routing takes us outside of not only the district, but the city as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it can be challenging, but once you have it down packed, then it's easy.
Okay. How many routes do you actually do you manage on a day-to-day basis?
Um, so our population is 26,000 students.
Wow.
So
My
and
goodness.
so as you know, Richmond is divided south and north. So I mainly do all of the routing for the south side, which is the bigger side of Richmond.
Mm,
So I would say Southside alone, mm, Southside alone has about 200 routes,
sheesh.
and that's just for day transportation. We still
Oh,
route for after school.
mm,
We route for Saturday school,
okay.
and there's also a field trip team that that can also cross. That can cross over.
Oh,
There's
okay.
routing for that as well, and as well as events. It's so much more that goes into schools. Like there's tours that the school does before school open. There's routing for that.
Okay.
What about field trips and stuff? You gotta do that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. We have a field trip team. Because field trips for the district that I'm in, field trips for band students that are participating in football, band practice. So we route students out of the state. We do overnight trips. We do weekend trips. So
Okay. That's wow. Okay, that's yeah, so you basically so you probably covering like Midlothian, probably um probably Chesterfield.
well, that's it's two districts. So you got Chesterfield have its own district, and then it's Richmond as far as the district. So part of Midlothian, yes, I do route for.
Oh, okay, I got you. Man.
What about Henrico? Is that part of Richmond too, or is that separate?
No, Henrico has its own school district. So Chesterfield, Henrico, Petersburg, and Richmond City has its own district. So they have their own routing team and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'm with the
Yeah,
Richmond district. I'm gonna put
okay.
that out there. I route for Richmond City. So so I don't do any routing for Chesterfield or Henrico or Petersburg, but the districts do communicate. So we have conventions where we will meet up and discuss certain things like federal programs, which is our homeless population. That's a federal program. We have to provide transportation no matter where they're going. Um, our exceptional ed student body, which is another, federal program again. So we do have meetings where we communicate and discuss how we can get the routing done from them because they're the most demanding. And not only do we route them outside of the district, we route students to Fredericksburg, to Charlottesville, to King William County. If that's where their program is, or if they're displaced there, then we have to provide transportation and route them.
Mm.
That's for elementary, middle, and high schools.
Yep, all grade levels.
You know,
So I hope the people out there listening to all this, because you know what I'm saying. It's
that's
deep.
good info.
Yeah.
And somebody told me that that the buses for in Richmond, um, people ride for free. Is that true?
The city bus,
The city bus, right?
yes. Ever since COVID, though.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know. They extended the program, but I don't know. Messing with Trump, I don't know how much longer that's going to last.
Oh, you got
They
one.
did extend it for another year.
Yeah,
Okay. I never knew that. I always see people waiting on the bus, and I'm like, why these people just stand around for like half an hour, 40 minutes waiting for, and I never knew it was free.
yeah. Ever since COVID.
Wow, okay. Now, do you have beef with like the other districts? You be like, nah, my district is better than
Um,
y'all's, man.
the beef you wouldn't find it amongst like drivers and some of the office workers because certain meetings are for directors.
Hmm.
So that's the beef. It will be amongst the director if that director choose to support their team or not.
Mm.
So,
Okay, like upper
but
level.
it's
Okay.
it's we for a long time Richmond City was dragged under the mud. Like we were always on the spotlight. Anything happened, boom, we made the news. But Chesterfield would have so much going on, but never made the news. So that was a little beef for a while, but that that
Mm.
that didn't last because Chesterfield started getting thrown underneath the bus too. So
I see. All right.
yeah, they were having accidents and drunk driving reports, and it wouldn't make the news.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Probably because what side of town is on. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but Richmond, we hit a parked car and we we on every news channel, and they dragging us.
now I have a question. Now, let's say now how do you deal with like a situation like let's say there's an accident, there's a on a route where a street might be cut off, a few streets might be cut off. Like, do you guys like deal with that on the spot? Like, do you like how does that work?
Well, in situations like that, if it's an accident that involves the driver, of course, there's protocols that needs to happen, which is the driver has to be drug tested immediately and such like that. But if it's an accident that the driver is stuck in, usually the protocol is they will report it to our dispatcher. It's really not much that the driver can do. We wouldn't do a rerouting for that route because it's something temporary. That
Oh,
driver can detour themselves out of that position or that situation, or if they're stuck, they're stuck. That's just it. But we
okay.
wouldn't do a rerouting for that because all of our routes is in the system. So, and then we also post our routes on the website. So we typically wouldn't do a rerouting for or editing of a route for something that's temporary. But say for instance, when we do edit routes and make those permanent changes, it's when we have students that move. So we a driver will have a stop on the run and no students are at the stop anymore. They've been making the stop for a month straight and there's no students there. So there's no need to keep that stop on the route, adding time to the route. Those are all the things we have to take into consideration, making our routes efficient as you know.
Mhm.
So we'll remove the stop and try to make the route as accurate as possible to reality. And we post it on the website. So parents are able to go onto the website and see the times for the bus and utilize the bus stops.
Okay. Okay.
So you gotta make sure everything's within a time frame too.
Yes, yes. So for
Oh,
routes, so there's three tiers, what we call tiers, which is and the tiers are the grade levels for the school. So when you were going to school, because I didn't go to school in Richmond. So when you were going to school, middle, high school went in first, elementary, and then
yeah,
middle.
Mhm.
yeah.
So in the last, let's see, COVID was what? COVID was about 5 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
COVID was
Yeah.
5 years ago. So about 7 years ago, they flopped the tiers. So elementary goes in now, middle, and then high. So we have to pair our routes where a driver can service a route for the elementary grade level, finish up those children, drop them off to school on time, then go ahead and do a middle school route, do the same thing, and then do a high school route. And so all of those routes have to be paired where once I structure them, say for instance, I'm making you go and do this route. Once you're dropping off at that school, the stops for your next route are supposed to stop within a time frame where you can get the students to pick the students up at a good time and get them to school on time. In
Mhm.
time for breakfast at that, not even in time for to start school. They have to get to
Sheesh.
school because that's a law. They can't miss breakfast at all.
Sheesh.
That's
Talk about
criminal.
breakfast.
So we have to get them to school on time. And so the routes have to be paired or structured where it'll flow in a timely and efficient manner.
Hmm. Ma,
And so,
I'll be right back, Ma.
I'm sorry.
I think bro said he gotta be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
that
yeah, so
yeah, go ahead.
those routes, usually that's when most of the editing are done, when we're in making sure the routes are remaining efficient.
See that's one thing we ain't never think about either. So we already just found out how we gotta break the routes down and stuff like that. But I didn't even think about the time. The time frame and the time you gotta put everything in. So that's another element that people might not even realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for instance, elementary school students have to be to school. They have to be to school at 7:45. That's their bell time. But we have to get them to school by 7:30 because they have to eat breakfast, and that's law. So, and we can't go against that. So, a route for most of our elementary school kids will start around 6 in the morning, and depending on the area and how many stops I will put on a route. And that route will finish in time. And when I mean finish, meaning they will drop off at the school at 7:30. Middle school students have to be to school at 8:15, but we have to get them to school by 8 o'clock for breakfast. So your middle school route will start at like 7:35 and finish up in time to be at the school dropping off at 8 o'clock. I mean, and the same thing would happen for your high school route. And so you would have to look at all the route times and pair them so where that driver can do that route and not rush and drop off at the schools at their breakfast time.
Oh, interesting. So what the bus driver do till it's time to go pick the kids up when they get out?
That's their time. So that's you can say lunch break or whatnot, but they get a good little break in the morning because routes are done typically by 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock, depending on your route, depending on your school. Um, and so they're done. If they're a driver that's participating in field trips, then they run field trips. That's extra money. Or you can choose to be off. And so that time drivers take care of personal business. Some drivers and monitors go work another job. They go work in the cafeteria for school at schools. Or they take care of personal business, go to doctor's appointments, or go home and sleep, or go home and cook. I remember when I was a driver, that's what I did. I would go home and cook or clean or whatever to fill my time during that day. And
Yeah.
then we had to be back at the compound by 2 o'clock. By 1:30 really, to do the afternoon routes. So, but like I said, that's they can do field trips to make extra money. Then there's something called CBIs, and CBIs are basically when you have a child or a person that is special needs, like they're autistic, but or they have Asperger's syndrome. And, Asperger's is like a mild form of autism. So you
Yeah.
have a functioning. Their special needs not to the point where it's physical or it's medical or they just can't take care of themselves. They
Yeah.
can function, they can work, but it's just they're delayed, pretty much. They're delayed. So there's programs in schools that it's part of once you're in a special needs class and you have an IEP, all of that is written into your learning. There's a program called CBIs, and those programs take those students out during the day and teach them how to do real life functions. So they'll take those students to Walmart and teach them how to purchase things that everyday people get, like
Really?
hygiene, and learn how to just do transactions.
Yeah.
They'll take them to
Wow.
do so. There's those programs. So those are all part of our field trips. All of our field trips are not just, let's take them to the playground or swimming or sports. Is also learning. There's learning programs that are,
Wow.
and so we have to provide transportation for all of that.
Wow. I, I never knew that. I really thought field trips, when they did school field trips when I was growing, it was just, oh, okay, you want to go to the museum or go to the aquarium or something like that. Wow, I didn't know they had all these different
I think
programs.
I think what it is because once you're in regular education or general education, you're not exposed to that. So
Mm.
you don't know that exists at all. I didn't know that exists in school. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you're not if you don't require that, you're not exposed to that. You don't know that is available.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's it's available and it happens. You ever been in Walmart and you've seen like some adults with a group of you can tell their special needs.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that
Oh,
here and
I
there.
did.
Yeah, you've seen that. Okay, so those are special needs program. They're delayed, but they're not delayed to the point where they can't live on their own. So they're teaching them how to be able to survive in a world of their own.
Ah, okay.
I seen a
Yeah.
white guy with a
And
whole bunch of black girls, and it looked weird at
right.
first.
And one thing to remember about special needs students are able to go to school up until they're 25 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So, well,
Okay.
for the Richmond district, let me speak for the Richmond
Yeah.
district. I can't really speak for the other district. So they're able to go to school up until they're 25 years old. So we provide transportation, and some of those students that you see and those grown people that you see in Walmart with their chaperone, they're in school. And they're probably just out on a CBI learning how to operate and function and exist in the real world like a regular person.
And so that's what I saw. I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking this guy adopted the girls or something. I'm like, okay.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say this real quick. Look, man, look at this type of information you're getting on this podcast, man. This is, I'm learning. Like every time we do an episode with a special guest, I learn something new. Um, and I'm pretty sure the audience is appreciating this information. Right? I didn't know any of these programs um I- ex- were out there like that. But
Yeah. Mhm.
I have a question though. Let's say you have a route with a special needs student
Mhm.
and they're nonverbal. Is the bus driver, are they like trained for those type of situations where you have maybe a nonverbal student who needs transportation, or do they make special arrangements for that?
um. So the drivers are trained, yes and no. They're
Mhm.
trained to be a driver. There's really not much physical contact with the students other than strapping a wheelchair down.
Okay.
Um, so our special needs students, they're on separate routes. So we have regular education routes, and then we have special needs routes because our special needs students, we pick them up at their house, in front of their house. Whereas
Mm,
regular education or general education, it's a neighborhood, a centralized stop, and that's part of the routing we do. We look at the area, we look at how many students is that area, and then we centralize the stop. So
mm.
and that's how we put those stops on the routes. We basically look at the map all day and centralize
I'm not. I'm.
depending on how many students. It's like a video game for real.
Yeah. I'm not gonna
So
lie.
in high
I,
school, they would count me, but I won't even there because I was skipping the whole time.
I'm not gonna lie. I appreciate the bus drivers, but sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'm like, oh man, I gotta wait. Gotta wait like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
You know, I'm like, damn, do I just make a U-turn? And but I get it. But
yeah,
we appreciate the bus drivers, man. But
yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
like, damn, I'm
Because they
running
get
late.
abused. They get abused. I mean, I only drove for 4.5 years, but that was enough for me. That was enough. So,
Yeah, man. But I think people need to. I think people need to respect, those bus drivers a little bit more, man. They have a difficult job. They have to, like you said. I didn't even know they had to make it before for breakfast. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that. That's
that's a law.
pressure.
We cannot, we cannot, and we cannot cut from their breakfast time, and we
Mm-hmm.
cannot cut from their in-seat educational time.
Mm.
Because
A lot of
at
pressure.
the end of the day, school is nothing but a business.
Mm.
When you're
Yeah.
on the inside, you learn that it's nothing but a business. Each student is a dollar sign. Each student
Mm.
brings money into the school. That's why parents get locked up when students don't go to school. Their child don't go to school.
Ah.
Because that's money that the school is not getting.
Now is
That's
that
one.
also?
Another thing
School won't
is,
get, school won't get no money off me.
oh yeah, yeah, you had them in a deficit. Yeah, in a negative. And another thing too, exceptional ed students are worth more than regular ed. So when a school is quick to say that your child has behavioral problems, because not, behavioral problems is special needs. Um,
like
they're quick. They're,
AH,
huh?
like
I'm sorry.
what's that H A
ADHD.
yeah, I'm trying to get it out. Yeah.
ADHD, or your child just hard headed. It
They
just,
quick to throw
we
that
got
on.
some
Look,
kids
man,
just
they
hard
quick
headed.
to throw that on the kid, man. Oh,
They're
he not
quick.
listening.
Yes, they're quick to say that your child have behavior problems. We need to have an IEP meeting, and then this child is coded as exceptional ed. It's on their record. It follows them throughout school, and the reason for that is because when you're exceptional ed, the school gets more money for the exceptional
Mm,
ed students than the general education.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay, getting
they
deep
get
in
more.
this.
So that's why they're quick to be like, your child got problems, your child's slow or whatever, because it's
Mm.
money.
Now I was gonna ask this. Now, does this tie into it? Now, I know that if I want to send, let's say if I had a 12-year-old and I wanted her to go to a school outside of my district because like I don't like the school that's within 5 miles of my house. I want to send her to that school down there, and uh they have I don't know if it's a law, but they have rules prohibiting like no, your child has to go to that school. It's in this district. It's in this zone. He has to go there.
Yes.
Does that tie into it? Does that
Hmm.
play?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you can send your child to any school district as you choose. Um, you can choose to enroll, but each district has their school zones. So Richmond is broken up into school zones for each grade level, high, middle, and elementary. And so if you choose to send your child outside of their school zone, which is within their neighborhood, and also there's two zones. There's a school zone, and each school zone has a walk zone as well. So those are all things we have to take into consideration when we're routing. Um, if this child is in the walk zone, that means they don't qualify for a bus. They're within walking distance of the school per se. Some of them are. Some of them, the way it's done, they're really far, but says they're in the walk zone, so we can't route them. We can't add them to a route.
yeah.
And
Okay.
for the students that are going to school outside of their zone, the parent can choose to enroll them in another zone, but we inform them that they're responsible to provide transportation for themselves. That's the rule. We're
Oh.
not
Yeah.
supposed to provide transportation. But as everything in the world, there's a walk around that.
Mm.
So one of the walkarounds is getting administratively placed outside of your school. Um,
Okay.
um, I don't know if you know of a school called CCP,
CCP.
Mm-hmm.
Mizzle,
Yeah, I
CCP.
do.
Okay,
Yeah, for the
so
benefits. Yeah.
CCP is a behavioral school.
Uh huh.
Behavioral school. So Students
I'm gonna
that
have to go.
students that got kicked out of their zone school will go to CCP. And so they will be administratively placed because they will go before a panel, and the panel will panel them to another school. And there's a panel for situations like that, for behavioral situations, situations for foster, all of that. We take all of that into consideration if a student is in foster home. We have to provide transportation even if the foster parent is on another planet. We have to provide transportation. We have to. So
Hmm.
we do routing for that, and that will be considered an administratively placement. So, and
Those,
those are usually outside of the zone, and that's a walk around. Another walk around is going under our McKinney-Vento program. A McKinney-Vento program is a program for our displaced family, but um, they found that the displaced family doesn't like to be addressed as homeless or displaced. So they created a fake name called McKinney-Vento, which is a government program across all districts. So all districts
okay.
do routing and have a McKinney-Vento population or a homeless population. And those are the workaround for getting transportation when you're not supposed to. Like some of our parents will go under the McKinney-Vento program and say they're homeless when they're not. When they're
Hmm.
not. It's just that they're guaranteed to get a bus.
They
Dang.
just don't want to just, just drive their kid to school. It's all right.
Pretty much.
Okay. So, all right. So we learning some. I
Mhm.
guess I don't know if these would be trade secrets, man. 'Cause I ain't know about these exemptions,
It's,
man.
it's stuff. It's stuff the
It's
public don't even think about. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
it's all that goes into when you see a school bus rolling down the street. It
It's a
just
lot
looks
of
like it's rolling, but it's a lot that actually goes into a school bus. Like prime example, our buses run year round. Our buses don't stop rolling because school is out for the summer. Our buses run year round.
even for summer school. You guys
For
do?
summer school,
Oh
then
wow.
there's summer school, there's summer programs.
Mm,
So you'll have summer programs that'll run longer than summer school, that'll run up until the opening of school. So the buses is rolling on the road.
mm.
Um,
About summer school and field trips and stuff. Is it like an
mhm.
overtime list for it, or do they get appointed? How that work?
Well, it is overtime. It's how you would make or hustle to make your money. Because I remember when I was a driver, a sub driver, I didn't have a contract. So that's how I made my money. During the middle of the day, when there was a break, I did field trips instead. After your the end of time, daytime school typically is 4:30. Your after school program typically starts at 5 and 5:30. So I would run an after school program. And then there's once football season starts, that's where your money comes in at because
Mm.
you'll do a football trip and you're out until midnight.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
our buses will be out.
So I got a question. So are
Mhm.
the bus drivers unionized?
We have just become unionized. Um, and it's been a lot that's been going on with this district over the last 2 years.
Mm,
And they've been fighting for some things. And it's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes that I can't say that they're good. I don't see where they're really great, but it's a lot of shakeup happening.
out of shake-up. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of shakeup. Because another thing about a district is it's all politics. It's nothing but politics.
Sound
Okay.
familiar?
Look, man. Look, even though we work in different industries, man, it's a lot of similarities here, man.
Yeah.
you know, um, damn, I wonder how that works though. Now, I mean, you just said that they recently just got unionized. So before, how did that work as far as like who would get the overtime? Is it first come, first served? Does it go by seniority? Does it go?
So, basically, how it worked is if you were contracted, if you had an 8-hour contract, I don't know why they had an 8-hour contract, because a bus driver doesn't, they work an 8-hour day, but they don't work an 8-hour day, because their runs in the morning is 3 hours and the runs in the afternoon is 3 hours. So that's 6 hours.
Yeah.
So with their 8-hour contract employees, they would give the field trip to those employees first because they owed time. So those employees would run field trips and not get paid because, again, their route is only 6 hours. For the 6-hour contract drivers, that was extra time. That was extra money.
Okay.
And the same thing would if you were a sub. It was extra money because as a sub, you don't have a contract at all. So you can work that school year as a sub driver, but if the next school year they don't need any sub drivers, they can choose, you know how that works. They can choose not to bring you back or whatnot. So that's usually how they do the field trips. They do give everyone an option to sign up, and whoever signs up, then they go by contract. So
Okay.
if you sign up and you're 8 hours, then this is how it worked. But now, and what they did a incentive as well, gave them an additional 2 hours of pay when in the afternoon in the evening when they did after school programs. But since they've been unionized and have done all this shaking up, they've since stopped paying the drivers that extra 2 hours. They've gotten rid of the 8-hour contract. And so there's just been a lot of back and forth with contracts, with,
Okay.
yeah, we've been all over the news. We were audited last year. So with the audit comes a lot.
Wow.
And
Okay.
in the audit, they found out that drivers were really being overpaid for after school programs. And so that was one of the reasons they cut that extra 2-hour incentive. You could do a trip you can do a after school program and it took you just 20 minutes to do the route, but you would get paid for 2 hours.
It's
You
blowing
would
up
get
a
paid for
lot.
2 hours.
It's blowing up a lot.
And then not only that, you did that route. It took you 20 minutes. You're getting 2 hours for that route. Well, I'm going to hustle. So I'm going to pick up another route and work that route in another 20 minutes and get paid an additional 2 hours. So that's 4 hours
for
of
20
pay
minutes
that I
of work.
made for just 40 minutes of work.
Oh, 40. Yeah.
That's how it was back in the days.
Oh,
They have since cut that. So yeah, a lot of folks are not happy.
they cut the gravy train, man. It's kind of like with our job back in the day, as far as mailman, before we had our GPS scanners that we have to carry with us now. We didn't have that, so we could finish our route within 2 hours, and we have another 4 hours of free time and go shopping,
Yeah.
go play ball or something, and
Oh yeah.
but they crack down on that. So
Yeah.
I mean, damn. So I can see why a lot of drivers are upset, man.
Yeah.
Man,
We have
cut the gravy
GPS on our
train.
buses as well. We
Man,
have GPS on our buses as well. So
was that recent, or has that been a thing?
no, we've had it for the last 7 years.
Okay, right, a little bit before COVID started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any reason for that, or they just like, well, I guess it'd be good to have,
Transparency. At the end of the day, transparency. And just a lot of stuff that will be happening on the
Somebody
bus.
snitched, didn't they? Somebody was like, why is that school bus at Buffalo Wild Wings, yo? What?
Man, you would be surprised how when you're a school bus driver, the whole world has its eye on you. We get calls from citizens that report things like, why are you up stalking a bus driver at this time, calling and report? But they call and report a lot of stuff They're always watching bus drivers, always,
And Mom,
always.
you know they watch it just like us. Hey, look, we parked at a if we're on our lunch break and we're parked somewhere for too long, somebody gonna call.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah,
I seen
we've
the
had that.
curve in Ollie's. He was shopping at Ollie's.
I
Yeah,
wonder who that was.
we've
You
had
know
that.
what
Like,
I'm
one of our rules is for
Yeah.
Richmond.
Hmm.
Richmond, we cannot cross county lines or district lines if we're not doing a field trip. So therefore, our buses, we can't drive in Chesterfield or Henrico for day school transportation unless it's like the middle of the day because we're going on a field trip to a certain place. So we'll get calls all the time where people are reporting our buses in Chesterfield or it's parked
saying?
here and it's parked here. They report all the time.
Sheesh.
And one of the craziest report we had this one person that so during COVID, I was still routing and our buses were still rolling.
Mm.
So for COVID, the kids they weren't in school. But again, by law, children have to eat.
Mm. That's a fact.
So even though the kids were not in school and parents may have been going through a hard time, we were feeding kids. So the routing I was creating food routes because the
Mm.
district, all the food that they would have in the schools for the students, they packaged them and brought them to schools. And these foods, it would be pickup sites for food. I don't know if you remember during COVID time, they would report those food sites on the news. You can go to ditch school and collect food and whatnot because they fed students breakfast and lunch.
Mm, okay.
So that's what I did. That's the type of routing I did during COVID, food routing.
Mm.
We had a citizen one time he did a whole sting operation. He went to one of our food sites
Sheesh.
and watched for a few days and took pictures and saw our driver giving away food to parents that didn't have children with them, or didn't even have a kid in the district. He took pictures and then he tested his theory by actually going to get food himself. And he didn't have a child in the district. And he called and reported it. And he sent us all the pictures of everything. You're wasting the tax dollars money giving away food. I don't even have a child. And the driver gave me food with no ease. And we get stuff like that. They tell
Come
it
on.
all.
Just it's like people like that just make it hard on everybody. I'm like, come on,
Everybody,
man.
yeah.
Like, you really
Yeah.
complain about a cheeseburger and
Yep.
and a bag of chips? Like,
Yep.
like, come on, man.
And the
Like,
craziest thing is, you know, we're all paying taxes,
yeah,
it's not just your money. Like, there was no need for you to do that. There was no need. You wasted a lot of energy for nothing.
it's I feel like people like that, they think they're doing the right thing. They think, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm helping out. I'm cutting waste. I'm like, nah, bro, you're not. You just you're not doing anything effective with your time, man. You could just
Yeah.
come on, you
As a
just
matter of fact, that ended up causing more harm than good because um, when those drivers would be at the delivery sites and all the food wouldn't be collected, the drivers were able to take the food back to our compound and take it home themselves and whatnot. Well, after that, they had to throw the food away. So then food was really, really wasted
yeah, it
because
just makes no
they
sense.
had to verify that it was actually being thrown away.
So you wanna, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, cause more harm than good. You wanna
Yeah.
come on, people. If sometimes it's best to just mind your own business. You see somebody
Yeah.
giving away food, just
Yeah.
just let it happen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Karen, man.
You know what I mean?
It ain't nothing off your plate. I mean, you know,
And you said you did it for a few days? Like, bro, you
yeah,
ain't got nothing to
he
do?
staked out the place for a few days, took pictures. A few mornings he went to different sites, took pictures, watched how they operate, and then he went to one himself and got some food.
Oh, all right, Columbo. Just want.
Yeah,
This dude is terrible.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
So what's up?
say for example, say they doing construction on the street, or water pipe might burst. Do they notify the schools or the drivers? See when they get out there, how y'all handle that?
No, they don't notify the schools. Usually, the drivers are the first point of notification, and what the driver would do would call it back to the dispatcher, and let the dispatcher know that this area is congested, they're blocked during traffic or whatnot. So let all the buses know don't come in this area. And so our dispatcher will put it over the radio, and the radio is connected to every school as well as the police station. But
Mm,
we don't get told nothing. We don't. We don't get told anything.
damn, man. Figure they give you guys a heads up. Like we're gonna be working on this street right here. You wanna let all your
Yeah.
drivers know.
Let the schools know what's up. You know what I
Courtesy or
mean?
No,
something.
they don't. Like Richmond has put up all those roundabouts everywhere.
Mhm.
You would think that they would meet with us to make sure that our buses can navigate
The roundabout.
around some of those roundabouts, because some of those roundabouts, the space is too small for the bus to actually navigate the
Yeah,
roundabout.
Mm.
And some areas we just can't. They just threw them
yeah.
up there.
Roll right through that bitch. Just go straight through it. Fuck it.
You can roll over it, but then you do damage to your bus and you make your day long. And I know as a bus driver, that's one thing you didn't want to do.
Nah,
Make your day any longer than it had to be.
but man, that's it. Every day on the Chippenham Parkway is a roundabout. There's an accident. There's a lane closure. So I know on some of these busy roads, man, something's going. They should let you guys know ahead of time.
Yeah, it would be nice, but no.
Look,
Mm-mm.
man, if a city official is watching this, man, look, man, let them know, okay? Do the right thing.
Please and thank you.
hmm
Something to think about.
hmm
Yeah.
So, in your 12 years as a router, like, what's the craziest thing you've seen on the job, man? Like as far as like maybe something happened on a bus, that'd be like, wait, what? That happened? Something that kind of surprised you.
It's too many stories to tell. I say that I'm gonna write a book one day. And I'm gonna title the book As the Wheels Turn. That's what the
Ah,
name of the
Yeah.
book is gonna be, As the Wheels Turn. It's a lot of craziness that has happened on the bus. We've had we've had an employee boyfriend bust the windows out of the school bus.
sheesh.
Mm.
He bust the windows out of the school bus.
All of them, because there's like 20 windows.
God dang.
He bust one of the windows out, and I don't know why she thought that the
Damn.
solution to that was because, okay, a little bit of backstory or a little bit of history. During the end of the school year, which we're coming up on because this is the last week of school, and it's already starting. Last week we had bomb threats call in, so we had to, and that's stuff we deal with. The bomb threats, like when there's a school shooting, when there's shootings in the area, all of that affects routing. All of that affects a school bus that you see rolling down the street.
Man.
So last week we had bomb threats, which is usually typical towards the end of the school year. They'll call a bomb threat in every day. where we'll have to evacuate. So this was one of the time where it's about the end of the school year. They'll also students will throw rocks at the bus, bust the windows out. That's another thing they'll do. So this driver, her boyfriend broke one of the windows on her bus. She decided it was a good idea to pull into a business and pick up some rocks and bust another window out. Bust another window out. And then she called it in over the dispatcher because, of course, it has to be reported. The bus has to be taken to the shop to get fixed. That's another thing we can do to hustle and make money. We shuttle buses in the middle of the day back and forth from our compounds to our shop because buses have to be maintained. They go through maintenance, so they'll be shuttled back and forth if it's their time to be maintained and whatnot. So that's a way to make money. You on the clock all day, just driving buses back and forth. So yeah, she decided to call it in over the radio and report that some students had busted the windows out of her bus. And at that time, we didn't even have the camera system that we had now. It was old, it was shoddy, and we were still able to see her standing at a bank picking up rocks, busting the windows out. And to this day, if you meet her, she would not admit it. She would not admit it. She would. I didn't do it. That won't me. She would not admit it, but you can clearly see her doing it. You can clearly see. But we've had that. We've had exceptional ed. We've had drivers having sex on the bus.
Whoa.
We've had.
They on camera?
With no students though.
Not with the students, but back at the compound.
Oh.
So they
at a school when they're on one of the late night field trips.
So they probably didn't realize they was on camera.
Oh no. Well, around this time, the camera system we had on the bus, it utilized a videotape, so that's how old it was.
Wow, okay.
And the box for the videotape was located under the bus. And the buses were older, so it had a lot of bounce to it. And so what would happen is, if it was too much bounce, it would knock the video out of the videotape out. And that would stop the recording. And so a lot of drivers knew that happened. And so a lot of them was confident that their video was out and the tape wasn't recording. Another thing is when you cut your bus off, the system we had at the time would still record for another 10 minutes after the bus cut off. And they forget that. They automatically assumed that once they cut the bus off, no recording was happening. But the tape still recorded. If the tape was inserted, then it would record for an additional 10 minutes after the bus or the engine would be cut off. And they would forget that. And that's when a lot would happen. A lot.
Yikes.
Yeah. And not just drivers and monitors. We've had exceptional ed. We had a case where some exceptional ed, they were on a field trip. And they were on a bus with chaperones, a lot of them. Yet and still, these two exceptional ed students was in the back of the bus getting it in.
Whoa.
They were getting it in.
Okay.
I mean, they were going in. Really going in. And it was to the point where
my goodness,
we were risk being sued. We had to wait until the young lady did a pregnancy test because we were being threatened to be sued if she was pregnant. All of that because she was in the back of the bus getting it in. So, when in actuality, her chaperone should have been paying more attention to them.
Yeah, what was the chaperone now? Just,
Back
Who
of the bus.
knows?
but you see, that's crazy. I mean, damn, you wouldn't really think somebody really getting it in on the school bus. I mean, like,
Back of the
Yeah.
bus
I
too.
guess it does happen.
I think honestly, I think it's a fantasy for a lot of people. Yeah. More
Oh
often than
man,
not, I think it's a fantasy for a lot of people because it's happened a lot, and not only in Richmond district.
other districts. So okay.
Yeah.
I can't never imagine doing that in my work vehicle. I can't.
It's not
I
Yeah.
even
can't.
comfortable. I wouldn't imagine it'd be comfortable. Like,
Yeah,
but
because the seats are tight.
I
But I mean, I guess to some people, if you can do it in your car, what's a school bus? So I guess so.
I guess.
But
Oh
we've had that. We've had drivers using the bathroom on the bus, and I'm not talking that's a number one.
well, number
What?
two.
Number two,
While they was driving?
no, I mean like craziness. Like they're out of school, but they're too lazy to go into the school to use the bathroom, so they go to the back of the bus and grab the trash can and yeah,
Come on, man.
go through the process of elimination.
Oh my God.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're back there doing some math, going through the process of elimination.
Oh man.
Got the butt smelling crazy.
Yeah, you'd be like, damn, what the crack a window, man. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Man, I know that book gonna be crazy when he put it out.
So my memoir as the real turn. Yeah.
Oh man. Whew. It's a lot of good info, man. Um, Ma, you got any other follow-up questions you wanna hit Kenisha
No.
with?
Nah, I can't think of nothing else. I think we pretty much covered it all for real, for real.
Yeah, man. You was very detailed, man. You broke this thing down like a science project, man. Oh man. So right now we at the hour mark. Um any closing words you want to say, Kenisha? Anything you wanna promote? Anything you wanna shout out?
Um, just to you all, anyone that's doing any kind of delivery. I was telling Mizzle that I consider myself in the delivery business. The
What you are?
packages is a
Mm-hmm.
little different. And we actually do have a slogan, delivering the world's most precious cargo
Mm-hmm.
because it's children.
Yep.
So I kind of consider myself in the delivery business just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. So, but shout out to
Yeah.
you all and what you do
I
because you
appreciate
guys
it.
are out there every day doing what you got to do no matter what. So
Exactly. We
to you
appreciate
all.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely. We definitely appreciate you. And plus we definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience, your stories with us, and enlightening our audience. Because I'm pretty sure I learned a few things on this episode. So I'm pretty sure they learned a lot. So we thank you for that.
Thanks for having me again.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
most definitely.
with that, we're gonna close out episode 6. Lock in. We got some more stuff coming in a few weeks. We got episode 7 coming up. We got some spicy stuff coming up. So I want y'all to lock in for that. All
I'm
right.
looking forward to it myself.
All right.
Have a good night.
Peace out, y'all.